Yo, what's good? I'm back in action. All right, check it out. First of all, I am happy with the first boss fight that I designed, and as I mentioned yesterday, I sent the info to my artists so I can get to work on that. However, Amanda is currently on vacation or something, so she's not going to be back for like a week or so, so probably won't have that finished until the end of the month. But that's okay because I got plenty to work on in the meantime. So, first of all, today I did worked on what I said I was going to work on, which was to fix up the behavior of the archers in various places. They had, I mean, their behavior is good, but they just had a couple bugs essentially. So let me show you first of all one issue here. Okay, like here, for example, there was this issue where, actually a better example would be the last level here. Okay, so this guy here, for example, so there's this mechanic I added where when an archer shoots at you, if you move out of the way, especially like at the last second, it'll kill any enemy that is behind you if it happens to hit one. However, because of the way oh, look at this table. What's going on here? Let's fix that up right there. Because of the way I coded it, it could happen sometimes that essentially if the arrow passes by where you were initially standing, that's the point at which it will be able to hit enemies. And I made it like that because I don't generally want the enemies hitting each other with arrows because it looks stupid. The idea is that you intentionally dodge as the player as a kind of kill move to get them to kill each other. So there was still a problem with that where a lot of the time the archers are not aiming at you very well, which is intentional. Like if you keep running around and moving, they'll just keep missing you. They don't have perfect aim. So if you're moving around a lot and they're pretty blatantly missing, they can still end up killing a guy if the arrow swings past you. And not only does it look goofy, but it's also confusing gameplay wise because you might not even see off screen that the other dude got killed. So you come up here, for example, it happens to me often that this dasher comes down here and then I skip by him. I kill this archer and I'm expecting this dasher to come after me and then he doesn't. And I'm like, what the hell happened there? And then you walk down here and realize you got hit by one of the arrows. So just to make sure it's much more deliberate, I added a fix where, and I'm going to quickly show how it works because I mean, whatever. I've shown it before, but basically all I did was I made it so that when the arrow fires, it raycasts constantly to check whether or not it's actually gonna hit the player. And only if at some point you are actually in the line of fire, then it will mark it as being able to kill enemies. So it still works, as you can see. Pretty sweet. Okay. Now, the next issue, and this was really the hardest one today. I spent a good like few hours on this. Basically, okay, take this guy for example. What could happen sometimes is when these guys are aiming their arrow at you, they do a line of sight check also to make sure that they don't do something stupid and goofy like just shooting at a wall when it's not actually possible for the arrow to go by. So I have like 3 ray casts that happen in a very small area, almost like kind of like a box cast that goes out and checks whether or not there's anything in the area. However, the way the code was working is, let's say this guy is aiming over here because I was standing here. If I quickly dash over here and move away, what it was doing was it was doing the raycast check from his current aim position, so like over here, and then over to where I am. And this could result in weird things where because it does like one line in the middle, another one to the left, another one to the right, it might end up like hitting the wall or something like that, and then it thinks that there isn't a clear line of sight. And so then he ends up stuck just aiming over here thinking he's not allowed to shoot because there's something in the way while you stand here completely safe. So like weird bugs like that. Another one was this guy over here when he shot at you, because he's just standing so close to the wall, technically the spawn point of the arrow, because of how he shoots, because he shoots with like his arm on this side, like the right arm, the arrow projectile would actually spawn what would be considered inside the wall here, because the collision box is like right here, right? And that would cause the arrow to be destroyed instantly as soon as it spawns because it thinks it hit a wall. So I just added basically a thing that just does an overlap check as soon as it spawns to see whether or not it's being spawned inside of a collider like that, and if that's the case, it just lets it go through. And yeah, that seems to deal with it well enough. And so now, I think there was like one other element to this that I had to fix up as well, but anyway, yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So now the archers seem to behave perfectly. I can show you that they follow everything well. Oh, right. The third thing was that it was originally using just a single raycast check, and the arrow has a little bit of depth to it, or width, I should say. So it did have the issue sometimes of, because it thinks the single raycast gets past this like one corner that might be in front of the guy, it would think it's okay to shoot, but it's not, because there's some width to the arrow, and so it ends up hitting the corner of this wall or something, and the guy keeps shooting there, and it looks stupid. So anyway, let me show you. It's looking good now. Wait, hold on. Okay, so that guy's shooting all right. I'll kill these guys. As you can see, if you keep moving, you can dodge them, but it gets close. And then this guy here, this guy would just, like, when he's shooting over in this direction, it would always just blow up right at that wall, like I was saying. So, oh, it just happened there again. What the fuck is that? You see that? I don't know if you noticed that, but see, like, yeah, it was blowing up every time right away there. Now, it seems to have done it on the first arrow shot there. I don't know what happened there. For anyone who cares, the bug was that, well, I did the logic fix, like I said, but then there was another bug where they still kept getting destroyed anyway, and it turned out it was because of the order in which I was doing things. It wasn't setting up like the layer mask that I used to check for collisions against walls, because I did it in the... Okay, so it's like this. I do it in the start function, is where I would like grab your like create the layer masks, but because the collision detection would happen on the very same frame it got spawned before start gets called, this thing would get deactivated right away and start never gets called, and so it's permanently stuck, like getting blown up like that. Looks like there's a bug here as well. This little piece of roof is not supposed to show up. I'll fix that in a second. Okay, but otherwise this guy seems to be working okay. I don't know why his one... Seems to be like a one-off rare bug sometimes. I'm not really sure why it caused it. I can't seem to repro it now, but anyway, for the most part he's working now. 99% of the time he seems to be working. Not sure what that one-off screw-up was all about, but maybe because it didn't spawn inside of it initially, maybe it hit something else, I don't know. Another one was this guy here. I'll give you an example of what I was talking about. See, like before, he would actually turn like all the way in here, and he would just be like aiming at the wall, which was another stupid thing, but now you'll see he's smart about how he waits to shoot and follow you. But yeah, it's looking good, looking good. Okay, the roof. Let me quickly fix that up. Show you how this works. I think I've shown this before. So I think this might just be a layer thing. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, there's like a mask, a triangular mask here that covers up. It hides this. This is visible outside of the mask. So yeah, it's hiding like this part of it, but this thing was on top. It should be on bottom, so that's fixed now. Okay. That's most of all I did today. The one last thing was I wanted to get to working on the second act, the first level. I didn't get around to really working on it, but I wanted to at least set it up to make it playable. So here it is. And in fact, it is playable. And I'm going to continue with this tomorrow. I want to transform this into like, I had some issues going back and forth sometimes with Amanda with the design of these levels, specifically with the thickness of the walls, because I didn't account for that originally in my prototypes, but the walls are much thicker in the final artwork, right? So I'm going to adjust the thickness of the walls so that the translation is 1-to-1 when I send my prototype maps to her. And I also want to just in general set up, because another really annoying thing was all my prototypes for the first act were out of date in terms of how I set things up, because I changed so many things over the course of developing the demo. So I want to like make a copy of this that I'll keep forever, as like, because I only have the first level of the second act prototyped out like this, right? So I want to fix this all up so it's up to standard with like all the things that are needed in my levels for them to function properly, and then keep that as a template so that as I move forward and create the prototypes for the rest of these levels, everything is good to go and I don't have to like manually fix every new level that I make. So I'll show you a brief preview here of this enemy type. These are the actually I can quickly show you what this enemy is supposed to be. I haven't set up their artwork. That's another thing maybe I'll get to tomorrow. The proper sprites for that. These are let's see, these guys, the gangsta swordsman. Yeah, these guys. Oh shit, buddy. The red and the blues. So we got a red version and a blue version of these guys, and the reason for that, let me show you what the design behind these guys is. It's very simple. They're very similar to the very first enemy in the game where you just straightforwardly attack them, except that these guys will always parry your first attack. And then you have a brief window during which you can kill them. So as you can see, if you don't kill them right away, they just keep coming right back at you, but then, see, and that's how you do it. You have to like double tap them all to kill them. It's very satisfying and fun. Now the reason for why I have the two different colored versions of them is because I found in very early testing of the game that it was more fun to have a mixture of guys that can be one-shotted and the guys who have to be like two-shotted. So either, I haven't decided on which color will be which, but one of them will be exactly the same as like the kamikaze, I call them the kamikazes, the very first enemy type in the game where like you just hit them once and they die, and the other ones will be the ones who always parry you on the first hit. Now it is possible to kill them with one hit if you use like a kunai, or if you hit them with a box first, or like kick an object at them, I mean, or something like that. But yeah. Now the only problem with them right now that I don't like design-wise is my intent with how you fight them was to like, I want it to be like a back and forth motion, you know, like you have to go here and then here to kill them. Like you slide across them, because that, I don't know, it's fun and it feels cool. But because they stand still right now when you hit them, you can kind of actually kill them by just like double clicking. Which I don't really like. That's not what the intention was. So what I was thinking, I'm probably going to play with this tomorrow a little bit, is to make it so that it forces you to have to actually like slide back and forth across them, is to make them move a little bit when they parry, or even when they attack you, so that rather than just standing there and hitting you, they will maybe do like a mini version of the dash forward, so that you can't just double click, you have to actually go back in the opposite direction to finish them off. But yeah, let me quickly submit some of those little fixes I just did. Okay, and that's it for tonight, folks. And that's all I got to say tonight too, all right? Peace out.